here underneath this wooden hatch, and there is a power connector in here. Here it is here, and that's the control unit to the Fiamma. This should be unplugged when you're working on it so you don't inadvertently engage anything. Just a note about these plastic housings. The lower housing has one physical screw on the back, which is a good old Canadian Robertson square head. So that's the only physical one. You just screwdriver. The rest are push pin, and there's one physical screw for the top cap as well. This video is showing the replacement of the Fiamma drive gear, damaged by failure of the micro switch, which stops the motor from closing. The micro switch itself didn't fail. It's the alignment of this end cap which stops it from hitting. You can just see the micro switch there, the little small green one. It's currently engaging. If the end cap slips out, or if the awning moves even 1/4 of an inch, it will fail to close the micro switch. That will cause the motor to continue to drive when it closes, and eventually splits this housing along the seam here. This is the new one, and you have to replace it. So paying attention to alignment is critical. You won't necessarily notice it unless you look real close, or you should listen for the motor to cut out when the micro switch closes, when the awning is fully retracted. So here we see the awning. I've replaced the drive shaft here. The micro switch here normally comes in contact with this surface of the end cap. You can see that tiny misalignment between the end of the front bar and the main body. If this end cap comes loose at all, of course, that would be fatal, because the end cap no longer closes the micro switch, and when you close the awning, it will eventually kill the worm gear. So what we're going to do is take the end cap off and tap gently. I've loosened off the set screws on the leading bar, and we'll try to move it over 1/4 of an inch and see how that goes. So in order to adjust the awning position relative to the micro switch, we need to loosen off these set screws in the lead bar, move the awning that way 1/4 of an inch, tighten them down, and give it all a try again. I'll mark the awning with a felt pen so I know where the position was, and hopefully we can get it to move that minimal 1/4 of an inch. Okay, I used a wooden block, took the end cap off, used a wooden block against the metal part of the lead bar, and tapped it over that way 1/4 of an inch. Now you can see it lines up perfectly here. So when I put the cap on, it will activate the stop switch, assuming of course that the cap doesn't come loose. So that's what's supposed to happen, and we'll try the rest of it. And I have to go and tighten the set screws inside the lead bar once again. To do the test, we're going to rehook this back up, making sure we key seat the connector properly. So there's a snapping sound when you get it in there, and it's all hooked up. Now we'll go and see if we have power in the unit. We go here to the Pleasureway control panel. We look under the gear section. We see awning, extend. We'll do a very quick, and it says ignition off. I hear nothing. Extend. Oh, retract. There we go. So the unit is in fact coming out. And so we have successfully repaired the worm gear. We'll just extend the awning to its full extension, see that everything looks normal. Don't see any issues. Okay, it stops at full extension. Not sure what stops the motor. Now we're going to try and retract it and see that it fully engages the stop switch when it contracts. You can see I haven't put the cover on the housing yet. Awning looks reasonably straight, and we'll give it a try. Awning coming in. Hold my finger on the button, the stop switch should kill it when it closes. And it does. My finger's still on the button and the motor is off. Success. Now when we look at the closed micro switch, more than half of it is in contact with the end cap. Just a final note, I noticed the end cap is not very tight. I put a little bit of plumber's tape on the fitting, so when it pushes in it's a little bit more snug. If it were to move, you could do this all over again, and we really don't want to do that. Now I just got to put the housing back on and push the push pin plastic rivets back in. A note, they were made out of a fairly brittle plastic. If you're not real gentle with them, you break them, and they're really hard to find replacements. They go in about a 3.5mm hole, and they're white. So there you have it. The weather cover is back on the motor assembly. You cannot really see the micro switch when the awning is closed. The alignment bit here, which is so critical, is absolutely not visible from the ground. Your only clue that's working properly is the motor shuts off when the unit comes to a full close, even though you still have your finger on the close button. If you hear the motor still running with your finger on the button, stop immediately. You will damage the unit, and investigate this alignment problem with the micro switch, or I suppose even possible the micro switch has failed. Well, all for now. Hope that helps you. Bye.